Minnesota Vikings went into Dallas on Sunday Night Football and beat the Cowboys 34-26. And a big reason why the Vikings won that game was because of your quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. I thought that was his best game of his short NFL career so far. He was making big-time throws. We saw his mobility, and we have seen him take strides week after week after week. And that's why we've been preaching patience here on the channel, because this is a young quarterback. He was a developmental quarterback. We knew this coming out, and he played some of his best football over the last 2 weeks. I mean, if you just take his past 2 weeks alone, he's got 6 total touchdowns, 1 interception, and that 1 interception, listen, it was on the first pass of the game. It was on the second play for the Vikings offensively in this one. Ball got batted, landed in the lap of Quinnen Williams. Is it great that JJ is getting balls batted at the line as much as he is? No, but, that's going to happen being an NFL quarterback. But what I've loved from him is just the mental toughness he has showed. I mean, that 1 touchdown pass he had rolling out to his left, the first one of the game to Jalen Naylor, that's some big boy football right there. That's a big boy throw. And this guy just played some great football tonight. Picking up first downs with his legs when needed to be. He was clutch on 4th downs, even, not a touchdown pass to Jalen Naylor, but he dropped that one in the bucket. And Kevin O'Connell, listen, I love seeing JJ. Only 24 pass attempts tonight. You didn't ask him to come out here and uncork the ball and toss it all over the field. You got him in rhythm early. You got his confidence going. And this kid, when he does have his confidence, when he does have his swagger, he can be a dangerous player in the NFL. I understand. You guys are going to be getting down in the comments saying, Patrick, they played the Commanders last week at home. They just beat the Cowboys. Both these defenses are some of the worst in the league. And I hear you. But it's still nice just to see development from this kid week after week after week. And number 9 played some great football tonight. I understand. This feels like it's a bittersweet win for Vikings fans. Because about 6 hours ago, after the Browns beat the Bears, Vikings were eliminated from postseason contention. And it sucked. It does not feel good that we're playing meaningless football necessarily right now. But in my opinion, it's not meaningless. Because we get to see this kid develop. It is one of the best things to watch as an NFL fan, is watching a young quarterback develop week after week after week, and it's awesome to see. Think about how bad he looked against the Green Bay Packers on the road, against the Chicago Bears at home, even that Ravens game at home. Is to see where he's at right now, and he's got the second most total touchdowns by a Vikings player in his first 8 games with 14. The only one who has more is Dante Culpepper. Now, yes, has he been perfect this year? Absolutely not. He has had a lot of downs, and his downs, he was in Jamarcus Russell territory. He was in all-time bust territory, and he has just stayed the course. He has stayed steady, and I will give credit to Kevin O'Connell. I'm a jackass. I was calling for his job 2 weeks ago, but the last 2 weeks he has called pretty damn good games. Even tonight, the Vikings couldn't run the ball, but he still stayed pretty committed to the run. And why do you do that? Because you help out your young quarterback on the road. I thought JJ played great football, just staying cool, calm, and collected throughout the entire thing. And we obviously know when the fourth quarter rolls around, JJ is going to make the biggest plays when they're needed to be made. No matter what, even when he was playing bad football this season, still in the fourth quarter, he plays some, his best football. You went to Chicago and won against the Bears. The Bears are going to be a playoff team. You went into Detroit, a place you haven't won since 2021, and you got to win with J.J. McCarthy making some big-time throws. And then tonight, taking on a Cowboys team who should be playing with a high sense of urgency. Didn't really feel like it tonight, but they're trying to make the playoffs. And what did the Vikings do? They went in there and they played spoiler. And it's because of J.J. McCarthy. He played some great football. The whole team was amazing. Now, the only one gripe I will say about McCarthy tonight, that 1 touchdown he ran in where he had the fake Aaron Rodgers handoff, and he was hitting the gritty. The gritty was absolutely horrendous. It was one of the worst gritties I've ever seen. It kind of reminded me of Kirk Cousins' gritty back in 2021 in Detroit. But I'm just proud of this kid. I'm proud of this team for battling. And sometimes as a fan, I get emotional. You guys know that. Very reactionary here on the channel. I'm not here stamping J.J. McCarthy, he's that dude. He's for sure the franchise quarterback. But like I said last week against the Commanders, that's a building block game. And he took that game against the Commanders. He played better today against the Cowboys. So now what am I expecting next week in New York against the Giants? I'm expecting better football. He just keeps on getting better every single week, and it's a beautiful thing to watch because, again, this guy's 22 years old. He's the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, even guy like Tyler Shuck looks awesome for the Saints. He's 26 years old. He's played a lot more football than McCarthy. Like, he is the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, and he's just staying the course. And tonight, 15 to 24, 250 yards, 3 total touchdowns, had a quarterback rating of 108.0. He played some great football. And, like, you see, like, yes, the mechanics are still an issue. That's an offseason problem. I got faith in Kevin O'Connell and the staff to get that shirt up. But also, he should have had 4 touchdowns today. Like, Jefferson, JJ misses Jefferson probably more than any receiver on this team. I don't know what it is. These guys can't get on the same connection out there. But Jefferson dropped a wide open touchdown. It was a beautiful throw by McCarthy. JJ should have had 4 touchdowns today. He should have 7 touchdowns the last 2 weeks with just 1 turnover, and that 1 turnover, kind of fluky. I mean, obviously you don't love him getting balls batted down at the line of scrimmage, but it is what it is. And he played some great football today. Like, you take out that first pass. Since that first pass for McCarthy, today against the Cowboys, where obviously you got batted down, take out that first pass, he was 15 to 23 with 265 total yards and 3 total touchdowns. That's a big boy performance on the road. And again, the Vikings were eliminated from playoff contention. I hear you. That's why this win is a little bittersweet for me. And also, if you're a fan that says, oh, now we're just messing up our draft slot. Like, now we're not going to get as good of a pick. We're not going to get Caleb Downs. Maybe we're not going to get Jeremiah Love. Maybe we're not going to get Mansour Delane. I hear all that. But the most important thing for this franchise right now is the figuring out if you have a quarterback. And we're starting to slowly get those answers to that question for the remainder of the season. And how fun is it to go play spoiler? You just ended the Cowboys' playoff chances. They're not going to be in the postseason because they lost this game for also many more reasons. That this was the nail in the coffin for them. You get to go play the Lions on Christmas. You go beat the Lions. Lions aren't in the playoffs. You go play the Cowboys Week 18. Or the Packers Week 18. What if the Packers got to win that game and win the NFC North? You can go play spoiler there. I don't care if the Vikings go 9-8 in the midst of the playoffs. It's not culture wins what they need, but they need J.J. McCarthy playing in high leverage games. And yes, this is not a playoff game. This is 2 teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs, but there's no bigger stage than Dallas Cowboys in Dallas on Sunday Night Football. And he went in there, and he outplayed Dak Prescott. Yes, Dak is going against the Vikings defense, which is a lot better than the Cowboys defense. But point being, they both stepped on the football field, and number 9 was better than number 4. And for everybody that was writing them off, and it also hurts me that there are a lot of Vikings fans that just vehemently root against this kid every single week, where they're hoping that he fails. And listen, I have been critical of JJ. He has played bad football, but the last 2 weeks he's been awesome. Like, he's starting to find his groove. He's starting to find his confidence. And I'm just super proud of this team. But if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Crossed over 68,000 subs a little bit ago, so I do want to say thank you guys so much for that. But shout out to JJ McCarthy. Shout out to those guys on offense. Jalen Naylor. We'll talk about some of those guys here in just a second. I also want to show some love to TJ Hawkinson, and then also the defense. Really gave up 26 points. They made some big-time plays when they were needed to be made. But before we do so, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, it is a holiday season and the best time of year for sports. You got bowl games, basketball and football matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And when you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys download the Prize Picks app today, plug in promo code CLNS will hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you put your first $5 lineup. And Prize Picks, it's super simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you guys get your picks right, you could cash in. So get in on the action. Prize Picks is now available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Download the Prize Picks app today. Plug in promo code CLNS. Get hooked up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But a massive, massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. That is promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's edition of Vikings Out by Chat Sports. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, I quickly want to just highlight some of the weapons here for the Vikings offensively. Let's just start off here with Justin Jefferson. 2 catches, 22 yards today. I mean, the last 3 weeks, like what do you have last week? 2 for 9. The week before that, 2 for 4. Obviously, Jefferson, I'm sure he's not thrilled about the production he's been having. JJ missed him a couple times. I was still, like, that's the thing with JJ. A lot of meat left on the bone for him, but he's going to go back in the lab and he'll get better from this. But Jefferson, I'm sure he's a little upset that he's not putting up the same numbers that he's used to putting up where, heading into the season, he was averaging 97 receiving yards per game. That was the most all-time by a wide receiver. And now this year he's probably averaging now like 59 yards per game. So obviously not ideal there, but still, like Jefferson's happy you got to win. Jordan Addison had that one deep shot. I was thrown by McCarthy, which is a very good throw, underthrown by about half a step. But so when you're throwing a 50-yard bomb, just get the ball to the wide receiver. I could care less if it's underthrown by half a yard. So I thought he, made some big plays when he was needed. And think about this. J.J. McCarthy also, no Christian Darrisaw on this one. He lost Brian O'Neill in the fourth quarter. Addison only had 2 catches. Jefferson only had 2 catches. So he relied on other guys. T.J. Hawkinson, best game of his season so far. 4 catches, 66 yards. Felt his physicality. He also made a lot of big-time plays in this game. Like that 1 3rd and 7 throw, I believe, when the Vikings were trying to close this one out. Got right down to the first down marker. Ended up handing it off to Aaron Jones. So he made a big-time play. Josh Oliver, JJ was rolling out to his right. Threw him a strike. He fell forward for some extra yardage. Ended up picking 18 on that one. But still, I understand, people are going to be like, man, JJ and JJ, they got to get on the, same connection. And they will. I'm not really too concerned about those two not figuring it out. That's what the offseason is for. Now, we're getting great in-game reps right now. Like JJ, the development he's had when compared to when we were leaving Lambeau Field and that loss we had against the Packers, we weren't feeling good about it. But JJ's just stayed the course. He's playing some really good football, and I'm really happy for the kid because he is clearly a really good guy. Even before the game, all the first responders in the Dallas area were walking in, and he was just dapping all of them up. He's got his head screwed on straight. He's a great dude, and he's a guy I'll go to war for. I'm sure the guys in that locker room will go to war for him as well. I do want to highlight a guy defensively. Jonathan Gennard did get ruled out of the game late. Looks like he was dealing with a hand injury. I thought Gennard was fantastic tonight. He only had 1 sack, but you felt his presence more than that. Forcing Dak either off his spot, forcing him to move up in the pocket, escape the pocket. Like Gennard was playing some great football today. So shout out to him. Andrew Van Ginkel brings it every single week. He is, since he's been a Viking, I can only think about 2 or 3 games where we didn't feel his presence, but we felt it out there today. Van Ginkel was awesome. Also, another guy like Eric Wilson. This guy might be the best blitzing linebacker in the league. If you're a running back and you got to step up and block 55, good luck. And, I would give credit to the Vikings DBs. Even though CeeDee Lamb went for over 100 yards, you held George Pickens 3 catches for 33 yards. Dak was in total 23 to 38, 294. You did a good job on him. This Cowboys offense is one of the best in the NFL, and the Vikings kind of felt like a shootout early. Cowboys couldn't hang with them. If you would have told me, hey, before the game, it's going to feel like a shootout early, and then the Cowboys were going to pull away, I probably would have agreed with you, but it was the complete opposite. Feels like a shootout early. JJ makes more plays than Dak. Vikings end up getting a win, 34 to 26. So, again, bittersweet, I will say, because, this offense we have seen the last 2 weeks is the offense I would have expected throughout the entire year. Guys, you think about it. This team got shut out in Seattle 3 weeks ago, and it was an all-time low. But now we're starting to stack good wins. We're starting to stack some development for JJ just game after game after game, and we're eventually heading in the right direction. So, again, I'm not going to have no major takeaways where it's JJ, he's stamped. He's a franchise quarterback. There's a lot of football left to be played, man. But still, in his 8th career start, give him an A. His 7th career start, give him an A. Last 2 weeks, playing some really good football. So I do want to give some love to those guys. I love the fight. Loved everything about tonight's game. And just credit to the team, top to bottom. Starts with the head coach, too. Kevin O'Connell was fantastic. Brian Flores was fantastic. And he got a big-time win on the road against a team who was very hungry to make the playoffs. And you just went into their building and showed them up. So shout out to everybody for tuning in to today's post-game reaction. We'll be live on the channel tomorrow. We'll see you guys next time. Let's go Vikes.